This is Olbermann versus Trump, and I'm not Trump. Or Trump total landscaping. I have warned for 4 years that Trump would resist leaving office, would claim fraud, would sue, would demand recounts, would recast every voting error as a vast conspiracy, would inflame his supporters, would violate every tenet of decency, would sell out every tradition of democracy, would lie, would cheat, would steal, would blame media, would blame meteors. And in this context, and after these last 6 days, I say this: relax. He's got nothing. He's just placating his cult members. He's just positioning himself to start a run for 2024, which was reported again today by Axios. He's raising money off this, money which it turns out he will keep. It's not a contested election. It's just another Trump scam. His concession doesn't matter. He's got nothing. If you've got something, you don't try to make Rudy Giuliani into your version of justice with its shining sword. You don't have this man who in 1 year has turned himself into a buffoon hold a news conference anywhere. You don't have him held a news conference across the way from the crematorium, a news conference down the street from all the auto part chop shops, a news conference the other side of the expressway from Sweet Lucy's Smokehouse, a news conference next to the Fantasy Island sex shop, a news conference at which your witness to vote counting fraud is a convicted sex offender and flasher. The Trump administration. It started with American carnage. It's ending with American pornage. Going out not with a whimper, but with a bang. The Philadelphia Inquirer reports that since the news conference, the phone has been ringing off the hook at Fantasy Island sex shop, and the callers are all asking the same question. Is Rudy Giuliani there? And how do they even let Giuliani out in public without 3 guys standing next to him with nets and tranquilizer dart guns in case he gets away? Up early working on PA, he tweeted on Sunday morning. Trump election night 800,000 lead was wiped out by hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots counted without any Republican observer. Why were Republicans excluded? Tweet me your guess while I go prove it in court. And there's the new Trump logo at the bottom, the Twitter bullshit warning. Tweet me your guess while I go prove it in court? Apart from the fact that no Republican observer has been excluded from any vote count anywhere in this country, it's not just that Giuliani and Lewandowski and Pam Bondi and Bernie freaking Kerik got out of the clown car and gave a news conference next to the porn shop, claiming fraud without a shred of evidence, but they didn't even bother to make up the fake fraud claims first. They're now begging the public for suggestions. It has long been true that Trump thinks he can sue his way out of anything. For decades, he has been notorious in New York construction circles for paying 90 cents on the dollar and then telling people to sue him for the rest of it, knowing that would cost them more if they do so. My dad warned me about him in 1980. But so far, the Trump campaign has filed 10 lawsuits over this election, and each has been rejected. This raises the question of what exactly the Trump campaign legal defense fund is really for. Trump World has sent out dozens of fundraising texts and emails each day soliciting donations to the legal defense fund, and yet there at the bottom of the donation page is our answer. Contributions to the defense fund will be allocated according to the following formula: 60% for the retirement of general election debt, 40% to the RNC's operating account. Small portions of donations to the recounts only go to the recounts after all the other election expenses are paid off. Otherwise, 60% of the money goes to the campaign and 40% goes to the Republican National Committee. It's a scam. It's another goddamn Trump scam. The campaign says recount Wisconsin. Wisconsin says that'll be $3 million. The campaign says new phone, who dis? The campaign brays about a recount in Pennsylvania, but if Biden wins by more than 0.5%, Trump would have to put up a $1 million bond and then pay any additional costs. And then there are the non-financial indicators that this is just a scam. The campaign opened up a telephone hotline for tips about voter fraud. It has been inundated with calls. Several news organizations have reported that virtually every single one of them has been somebody insulting Trump and then hanging up. People are making TikToks of themselves insulting Trump and then hanging up. One guy boasted on Twitter that he keeps calling back the Trump voter fraud hotline and leaving them the entirety of the Biden and Harris speeches from Saturday night. And then there is the global context. The moment the news organizations called Pennsylvania for Biden, foreign leaders stampeded over each other. And for that matter, they stampeded over Trump to get to Twitter to congratulate the Democrats. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have already, in effect, been recognized worldwide as the rightfully elected new government of this country by everybody from Trump's pal Boris Johnson of England to Trump's pal Bibi Netanyahu of Israel. And Netanyahu tweeted while his Twitter page photo was still of him with Trump. And the tweet included a direct message to Biden, quote, "Joe, we've had a long and warm personal relationship for nearly 40 years, and I know you as a great friend of Israel." And the goddamn murderous Prince of Saudi Arabia already congratulated Biden. It's all a scam. And anybody notice that this crime of the century, this massive plot to give the Democrats the election, somehow accomplished that impossible task, but the Democrats weren't able to take the Senate cleanly, and they lost seats in the House? Who dreamt up this crappy plot? Rudy Giuliani? Well, actually, something else no one seems to have noticed. The Trump paranoia of this Monday, as sung by his witless diehards like Giuliani and Marco Rubio and the hee-haw televangelist Kenneth Copeland and the aptly named Governor Nome of South Dakota, completely contradicts the Trump paranoia from last Monday. Today it's, the media doesn't get to announce who won the election. Last week it was, only votes tabulated by election night should count so we can all go to bed knowing who the president is after the media announces who won the election. It's a scam! And if all this isn't enough to prove to you that Trump is staging his fake lawsuits about fake voter frauds and threatening fake recounts that will never happen for the sole purpose of reassuring and then fleecing his own supporters, I ask you this. After what he would have you believe is an electoral theft the likes of which the world has never before seen, involving some kind of deep state supercomputer or super abacus, precipitating a crisis over the legitimacy of the American government unlike any since the year 1876, putting him personally in the middle of a life or death struggle for his administration and his vision of the nation and the world. What did Trump actually do over the weekend? Convene the cabinet? Convene the leadership of the Republican Party? Convene Bill Barr and the corrupt Justice Department? Convene the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Maybe convene just all the members of the administration who got COVID from Mark Meadows or at the Amy Coney Barrett super spreader? No! Saturday, Trump played golf. And Sunday, Trump played more golf. It's a scam! I was one of the first people to say he would not go without trying something horrific and outside the law that would let him stay. And I am now saying to you, he's got nothing. He's placating his cult members. He's positioning himself to start a run for 2024. He's raising money off this, which it turns out he will keep. It's not a contested election. It's just another Trump scam. His concession doesn't matter. In fact, he already knows that he doesn't matter. Good night and good luck.